All right, ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. Thank you so much for your patience here with the technical difficulties. It seems like the servers here in Codemaster Universe are a little bit wonky here today, but we are finally live and ready to kick things off for what is going to be an exciting afternoon of racing action. It's the Division 2 Championship, and we are here at Circuit of the Americas in COTA. It is time for the United States Grand Prix. Ladies and gentlemen, hello and welcome. Thank you for tuning into the stream. My name is Fallen Monkeys here in the commentator's booth to take you through the action as we're just getting set for our short qualifying session. And we've got the Ferrari of Krishna, who is out on track to kick things off on the medium tires to see what he can do, what he can set as a benchmark time for the battle for pole position here at Circuit of the Americas. It's going to be a good one here at the United States Grand Prix. It always makes for some very exciting racing action. It's a track that's got something for everybody here. You like long straights? Well, we've got a long straight, two of them actually, the start-finish straight and this one here that we're seeing Krishna go through. You like sort of what we can see in Japan, a lot of twists and turns left and right. Well, we've got that in Sector 1. You like hard braking zones and difficult off-camber, on-camber corners? Well, we've got that here in Sector 3. There really is something for everybody here in COTA, a little bit of a mix and match circuit with all of the, controversially the best features of some other tracks that we know and love all grouped together, and it always does make for some very exciting racing. Now, we're going to jump on board with Krishna as he's going to just take us through a flying lap. So around the final corner across the line, that comes very quickly here in COTA to cross the line up the hill towards turn 1. It's a bit of a funky line. You can see you gotta turn a little bit later than what you're used to. It's a wide apex, and then on the exit into turn 2, and of course the S section here in COTA into 7th. Just lift off the gas here to get through with the aero package. Down the 6, slowly down the gears as you're heading through all of Sector 1 into Sector 2. A nice little corner cut there, but you gotta watch out for that sausage curb or else it could send you off and invalidate the lap. A hard braking zone here in this left-hander before we head down the long back straight. You go up the hill a little bit, almost like a roller coaster, up the hill as you're charging down the hill towards the hard braking zone. Another left-hander coming up here. DRS is open for that long straight. Nice corner entry here. As you can see, you can take a lot of curb on that corner entry without getting in trouble, like we saw Krishna do into the bit more of a tricky section here. You want to get on the power as quick as possible on these corners, but it's very easy to lose the car, lose the back end if you're not careful. But Krishna handling that pretty well on his lap through the sweeping right-hander. Now only 2 corners to go. First left-hander, you don't want to run wide. That could be an invalidation. And of course the final corner, similar to the penultimate corner, but just a little bit slower across the line. And it's a 133.428 for Krishna to kick things off, put that first time on the board here, as it looks like Perk Leclerc, who's in the Aston Martin, crosses the line, and he goes a 134.9 on his first lap time. On his debut here in ISRL for the Division 2 Championship in that Aston Martin car. Like I said, about a second off the pace here on the softs. Of course, Krishna set that lap time on the medium tires, so Krishna showing a lot of pace. Zhu Will, our championship leader so far here in Division 2, takes a provisional pole position as he sets a 132.4 on the soft tires. So it looks like Perk Leclerc's about 2 seconds off the pace of what we can see the quickest driver on the softs, but we'll see how this all plays out. Of course, it is still early days here in this short qualifying session. Drivers getting banker laps set up a little bit more than anything else here, just to put something on the board. As you can see, Demor's a 133.1, Dark a 33.2 on the mediums, just eking out the time better than Krishna. Jav setting a 134.2, and DeRoy going a 132.1, so he takes that provisional pole away from Zuwil. Now DeRoy has had a couple races with a little bit of bad luck here, but putting that car up on pole position is a great way to look forward and not behind, and set himself up for what could be a great race here in Coda at the United States Grand Prix. Now Jordan on the soft tires is coming around the final few corners now. Only one to go for his first lap time. We'll see where he can put that AlphaTauri car, and I think Jordan, he's had a decent season so far, but hasn't had that consistent result that we've known to see from the AlphaTauri drivers. So we'll see if he can pick that up here, as we've just passed the midway point of the season, midway point of the championship. So half the races are essentially over and done with. Of course, after this race here in Circuit of Americas, it is officially round 9, but unofficially round 8, as Baku will be held next week during the break week for the other races. But we'll get to that when we do get to that. Lucchesi, I think that was... no, that wasn't Lucchesi. Who was that who crossed the line? That was Nazareth who crossed the line, a 131.9 for his first time on the board, and he snags that provisional pole position. And Nazareth in the battle for the championship with DeWill, with Knight, essentially, and that pole position, or that provisional pole position, is going to be key here. A little bit like last week, where Nazareth has really got to start chipping at that gap that we are seeing between P1 and P2. It looks like we don't have the official standings, but if we look back at the Russian Grand Prix here, Zuwil had 207 points, Nazareth had 138 points, VR and Knight third and fourth, right around there. But of course, Nazareth didn't quite have the best outcome last week, so he's going to be looking to improve on that, try to close that gap to DeWill. And of course, we do still have VR, who is not here today, and Knight as well, who's currently in the pits, doesn't have a lap time set just yet, who are going to be looking to close that gap up as well. Now, Whitston, we know and love him in Division 4. He's actually running 4th fastest right now in qualifying with a near 133 flat. 133.006 is the official time for the Alpine driver here, reserving for Koala, who was unable to make the race here today. So Winston looking to be on pace here so far in these early stages of qualifying. So we'll see where he can end up as well once the timer does hit 0 and the laps are locked in here. And with still 10 minutes to go, loads of time to see improvements, loads of time to see the grid order changing here between now and the end of the session. But for now, of course, we are in a little bit of a lull. Lots of drivers running out laps in the pit lane. I think it might just be Krishna who's actually running a flying lap, albeit he just started his flying lap. Now, this time around, Krishna has put on the soft tires, so I would expect the Ferrari driver to be going much faster on his second lap than he was on the first lap. That was set with those yellow-walled medium tires that, of course, don't have as much grip. They're not going to be as fast. They're not going to grip to the rubber as much, but they are a little bit more durable, so it does make them a better option for the race, given that their peak performance time is a little bit longer than the soft tires that can go very fast, but they will wear out on you, and they will lose out on pace relatively quickly as well. But we'll see how that plays out. Rotation was on a flying lap, but having trouble with those track limits through Sector 1 has an invalidation, and that, I think, is going to be a reoccurring theme that we're going to be seeing here today over the course of the remaining time left in qualifying, as well as here in the race. I really do think track limits are going to be a talking point, especially in Sector 1, where you're taking those S's a little bit like Suzuka in Japan, where you want to be riding the curves, but you don't want to be taking too much curb. And I think for rotation, that was a little bit what happened. You take just that tiny little bit too much, and your lap gets invalidated. Not the case for Krishna, as he was on a flyer, to say the least, and he sets a 131.8, and that is good enough for provisional pole position here with 8 minutes to go. But a couple powerhouses running their second flying laps of their own. Zuwil is one of them here in the Haas, looking to regain that provisional pole position after losing out to it, finding himself now in P4 with the likes of DeRoy, Nazareth, and most recently Krishna who have leapfrogged him to set the quicker lap time. So we'll see what Zuil can do as he's running a lap. I am seeing as well the 3 drivers who have yet to set a lap time. Irish New Potato just leaving Sector 1 rotation, running another lap down. You can see how close he's getting to those track limits. So he's really flirting with them here, but we'll see if he can keep it valid. Knight as well coming around the what is going to be the final corner now, and we'll see where he can put that Alpine for his first lap time across the line. Goes up to P4, just going faster than Duwil, and crucially for Duwil, he had an invalidation on his flying lap, so it will not be counting for anything, and you can see he very quickly turned that into a second out lap, and I think he's going to go again for a second lap here on those soft tires to see if he can improve, because now that was Demorts who just crossed the line going P4, quicker than Knight, and by default quicker than Zuil, who finds himself now down in P6. So falling down the order now is Zuil. He will need to set a quicker lap time, I think, as now that was Irish New Potato who just crossed the line. He goes a 132.9, but very crucially he set that on the medium tires. And if I look at the best tire here, the only driver in the top 10 to have a time in that top 10 position on the mediums. So we'll see if that's going to be enough for Irish New Potato to hold on and maybe get that race start on the medium tires, or if he chooses to put on a set of soft tires right at the end of the session to go faster. Speaking of faster, DeRoy, he snags provisional pole position. It's a 131.7 as the time here at the top continues to fall. We were seeing a 131.8 from Krishna. Dark brought it a little bit closer with a 131.888, but DeRoy sets a 131.7, and he officially snags that provisional pole position. But we'll see if anybody is going to attack him. 5.5 minutes to go in this qualifying session, so not too much time left. If you're not already on track, you might want to start considering hitting the track sooner rather than later, or figuring out how you want to go about it, because these 5 minutes are going to disappear on you if you're not careful. Given it takes a minute and a half to get your flying lap done, and then of course give maybe 2 minutes. Oh no, but there goes Nazareth into the wall in qualifying on his flying lap. Thankfully he keeps the car in the session. No DNF out of qualifying, but that's a front wing broken for Nazareth and an abandoned lap at that. Of course, it was 2 corners from the end of the circuit, so very quickly dives into the pits. Does not have to lose more time than he has to, but trying to get that car up the field, pushing that car to the limits, and I think for that corner he might have just found the limit, only just, and that is unfortunately an abandoned lap for Nazareth. But he will still have time with 4.5 minutes to go to get back around and set one more lap time if he is quick enough, if the team is quick enough with getting that front wing changed. I do think he will have definitely enough time though. But once again, back into that lull between the out laps and the in laps. Chris D7, who is currently on an in lap right now, I believe, a 133.8, his best time. He's in 14th, so might be looking to jump his way up the field. Jav SRN is with a 133.5. He finds himself with an invalidated lap time, so he might have been running a flyer here that invalidated, and that is going to be a little costly here. As you can see, less than 4 minutes to go now in qualifying, so he's going to have to really hurry up to the pits, get that tire change, and get back on track here sooner rather than later. Because you can see the time is slowly ticking away. It feels not too long ago we were saying less than 5 minutes to go, and now we're flirting with 3.5 minutes to go. And we're going to start seeing more drivers take their out laps now. Perk Leclerc is out on an out lap. Rotation is about to get a flying lap started here, hoping that he can get some of that clean air to his advantage. We'll stick with Rotation as he's going to start his flying lap right here, right now. You can see just extending those track limits as much as he can to take the optimal line into turn 1. As he takes turn 1, you can see just keeping that valid through the apex of the corner. But if we ride on board, we'll see how he handles the S's. One of the more trickier sections of the circuit is this Sector 1. You can see, oh no, clips the curb a little bit too much. It's a little bit of a half spin for rotation. He keeps the car out of the wall, crucially, but that's going to be a little bit of extra wear on those tires, and it's going to now be an abandoned lap. But he should have enough time to get one more lap in if he just turns this lap into a second out lap, or a second warm-up lap, and just go for it here right at the end of the session. Leclerc on the outlap, as we saw. Krishna now is running his final flying lap as he's coming through into Sector 2 down the long back straight. And you can see the amount of drivers running their outlaps, running their final flying laps. If not already, will be leaving the pit lane soon. But I do think out of all these drivers, the only other one possibly, Irish Potato just coming through turn 1. So Krishna will be the first driver to get a lap time set. He went 3.5 tenths faster in Sector 2 now for his time, and that's looking to be very good here, as he only needs about 1/10 of a second to, or 1/10.5 I should say, to overtake DeRoy. So if he can keep it clean, keep on it here, oh my goodness, that's, that Williams nearly sent me for a turn until I remembered we're watching a Ferrari, not a Williams here. They were just getting out of the way, but across the final corner and across the line goes Krishna. He does take provisional pole position, and a flyer at that. It's a 131.384 to set the benchmark here. Now, Nazareth unfortunately has an invalidation, so that might be the end of Nazareth's qualifying. Everybody else running their outlaps here. Knight has an invalidation very early on, so that's not going to be a valid lap either for him on what very well was his final attempt of a flying lap. Jordan just starting his Irish Shoot Potato, coming around the sweeping right-hander. I think he's going to be the next driver to get that lap time on the board if he can keep it valid through the final few corners. Only one to go now. Can he leapfrog a couple drivers, get out of that P10? Crosses the line now. He does. He goes up to 6th fastest, but we'll see where that'll end up with him, as now Zuwil, he goes about half a second faster, so 31.8 now, but I think he's officially going to be starting his final flying lap now as he crossed the line. So too will be Leclerc, as I think he had an invalidation on his flying lap, but here we go. We're down to the wire here. Yellow flags in Sector 2 as drivers just getting themselves sorted out, but with 15 seconds to go in this qualifying session and counting, it's gonna come down to this: who is going to snag pole position once the timer hits 0? For now, it's Krishna. We'll see if he's going to be going faster. I don't think he will, though, as we've got rotation coming through. It looks like he's going to have a much better lap, or possibly a much better lap time, but it might not matter much now looking at the timing tables, as he's just, I think, going to be diving into the pits. Let's see here who is running a lap here. Jav is on a flying lap as he's going to be coming through. Let's switch over to some of these top runners, though. DeRoy had an invalidation, so he will not be improving. Dark will not be improving. Zuwil currently might be the only driver on pace to improve other than Nazareth. So Fion out of this session. Irish Shoot Potato could improve as well if he's going for one more, but I'm going to stick with Zuwil as qualifying is over. We know Dark is going to remain P3 at best. DeRoy is going to remain in P2 at best. But can Will find enough in the tank to snag that provisional pole? No, it will not be enough, as he sets a 131.6, and that is good enough for P2. Krishna is not running a lap. I'm gonna stick with Nazareth now to see. I think he might have one more in the tank if he's choosing to do it, but with 2 corners to go, it's gonna be close. Only one more corner to go. As you can see, the other drivers diving into the pits. It's all going to come down to Nazareth across the line. He does leapfrog a couple drivers, puts himself up into P3, but it will not be enough, and it will be Krishna who is going to be starting from pole position. It's a Ferrari who is starting P1 here in Circuit of the Americas. Will be starting in first place for the United States Grand Prix. Zuwil, that invalidation that he had might have proved a little bit costly. He still gets a front row of the grid start, but much likely would have preferred that pole position. Nazareth, he's down in 3rd, but exactly where he wants to be with his main championship rival in 2nd. with DeRoy pulling up another strong qualifying here up into P4, but we'll see if he can, oh my goodness, words are difficult for me. We'll see if he can translate that into a solid finish here at the race. Hopefully he can keep his nose clean, stay out of incidents. That is, I think, going to be the key to DeRoy's success here in Circuit of the Americas, as it is going to be the key for a lot of these drivers, especially in the first lap. When everybody's bunched together, we know how hectic Turn 1 can be, but if not Turn 1, having to maneuver those S's side by side with drivers to the left, possibly to the right as well, are going to be very, very difficult here for even the most skilled of drivers. But we'll see who can handle that the best, who can be the champion here in COTA. There is the order, but I'm excited to kick off the race here. We've been waiting some time here, but it is finally time. Qualifying is over. There is the order, as I'll take us through the order one more time during the formation lap, because then we get a better idea of the tire choice, of the tire strategy here around COTA. Now, speaking of strategy, as qualifying is over and done with, we're jumping into the race. From what I've noticed, from what I've heard, a two-stop strategy seems to be what drivers are ideally looking to go for here. That seems to be the more popular strategy, soft mediums, or going soft to mediums to a set of softs here at the end. Now, of course, as we tend to say time and time again, I would not be surprised to see some drivers who are a little bit better with tire wear, who know how to manage their tires a little bit better, maybe gamble for that one stop, going soft to mediums. But of course, you're going to have to extend one of those stints. You're going to have to either extend a set of softs or extend your set of medium tires, and you will be slow during that extend. So it is a little bit of a balancing act here between the two stops and the one stops. Expected drivers who maybe start on the softs, if they can build enough of a gap where they're feeling comfortable to extend those soft tires during that first stint, expect them to extend that stint and maybe go for the mediums, and equally possibly hope for a safety car, because of course, like we say time and time again, a safety car can throw any predicted strategy into the gutter, into the turn wheel, and it will force you to improvise and adapt on the fly. There is, of course, the option to put on a set of hard tires, but generally it's not something we see too often here. Of course, the pace isn't quite there. They can go a little bit longer, but given the strategies we're seeing, if you're going to go soft to hards, you might be better off going soft mediums, or just soft mediums and the extend rather than soft to hards. But we'll see how it all plays out. But as the drivers are starting their formation lap one more time through the grid, we have Krishna on the soft, starting in P1, starting on pole position. That bright red Ferrari will be leading the charge into turn 1. Will, the championship leader, in second place here on the softs, with his main rival Nazareth lurking behind him in P3. Nazareth is going to try to get a jump off the start, maybe go for an overtake into turn 1. DeRoy in fourth, Dart rounding out the top 5 here with his teammate of Nude Potato in P6. So P5, P6 for the Mercedes team. A great job there in qualifying for that third row lockout. So Theon and Demort's P7 and P8, Knight in P9, with Jordan rounding out the top 10. All on the soft tires, as that is the tire compound they had set their quickest lap times on in qualifying. Now, best of the rest, free choice of tires. We have Jav SRN, or just Jav as I'm going to call him here for the remainder of the stream. He's a P11, poor man's pole position on the medium tires for his struggles, so expect him to go a little bit longer here than the top 10. Maybe try to get an advantage with that pit stops with the strategy here. Maybe go mediums to soft, or medium soft. Whitston from reserving here from Division 4 down in 12th position on the soft, so we'll see what he can do. Lucchesi on the mediums in 13th. Chris D7 and Perk Leclerc in P14 and P15 on the soft tires, with rotation rounding out the grid. He is on a set of medium tires, going to be looking to go a little bit longer, but of course rotation, he's just got to keep that car on track. We know he's got the pace. He's just got to iron out the I guess the adaptation on the wheel, once that gets sorted out, expect to see rotation just fly up the grid. But here we go. Drivers are lining up on the grid, and we are just about set for 28 laps of the United States Grand Prix here at Circuit of the Americas. Up to 2 lights, 3 lights, 4 lights, 5 red lights. And the lights are off, and we are racing here in the United States as the drivers heading down towards turn 1. DeWill had a fantastic start, getting ahead of Krishna going into turn 1, but Krishna taking a wider apex line. A little bit of drivers going wide. That was I believe that was either Sofiane or DeRoy. Must have been DeRoy, but DeWill takes the lead into turn 1, going through the S's. Nazareth still remaining in third. He's got to get past that Ferrari as quick as possible. We've got a battle in the rear. Perk Leclerc and Kay Lucchesi, 2 teammates going at it here, but in the leaders you can see Krishna fending off Nazareth. Nazareth's a man on a mission here, trying to keep that gap close to DeWill, but it looks like through the S's, through sector 1, the drivers making it through relatively cleanly. You can see Knight side by side with the Red Bull of D-Morts. We've seen these two battles have a couple tussles here before. They're renewing that rivalry as they're side by side going down the straight. Who can outbreak who? As you can see the two McLarens exchanging positions. Oh no, and that was D-Morts having to go a little bit deep to avoid some contact, and that is a little bit of a gift, but Knight will take it. Jordan is going to take it as well, as D-Morts might need to take a pit stop to get that end plate change, as he is losing a lot of time, as now Whitston is trying to battle here for position. Jav getting ahead of Chris D7 here in the chaos as they're going 2 by 2, charging down the straight, and there was D-Morts. He is definitely going to have to pit here at the end of this lap. He is losing so much time with that wing damage, and there goes that Red Bull. As you can see in the distance, we should see the pit show up there very soonly. There it is. So not the start D-Morts was hoping for there, just trying to get out of the way of the two McLarens battling amongst each other, but unfortunately just had nowhere to go, and trying to take the wider line, just unfortunately not quick enough, and that is the end of that. But we've got a yellow flag here. That's Whitston out of this Grand Prix through the S's, and that is going to bring out a virtual safety car. So D-Morts might be jumping for joy here as he takes that pit stop, and now he's got a virtual safety car to neutralize the race, but I'm sure he can try to close up a little bit here, as he's not going to lose out on nearly as much time there as it did come out. But for Whitston, it looks like that was on the exit of turn 2. Let's right on board. There is that car of Whitston, as we can see D-Morts just getting by it. It looks like he made it through turn 1 and possibly just losing the back end through turn 2. Hard to say from this angle if there was a battle or not that was happening, maybe some contact, but unfortunately that I'm not too sure. We did not quite get to see it, unfortunately, but for Whitston, the damage is done. He is out of this Grand Prix here, and not the race he was hoping for, as his reserve here in Division 2 lasted all of 1 lap. So for Whitston, it's a little unfortunate, but he did have a solid race in Division 4, so it's not a weekend all lost for the Alpine driver here. But for us, we are under virtual safety car here on lap 2 out of 28, and I think in just a few moments here we might be going back to green flag. It's a bit of a lengthy virtual safety car, and there we go, right on cue, back to racing as they're charging into turn 1, relatively single file here as we start lap 3 out of 28, but DeWill still leading, hasn't quite built that gap that we're used to seeing, but that is crucial for the likes of both Krishna and Nazareth, who are chasing him down. But look at this Irish Shoe Potato, he's starting to find a little bit of pace here. He's got his teammate behind him, keeping the two McLarens behind, and now Irish Shoe Potato can try to focus on the drivers ahead. You could see very close to possibly getting a warning there on the exit. That is a notorious corner. If you're not careful, that will be giving you warnings, that will be giving you penalties if you extend it just a little bit too much. But chasing down the back straight, DRS not quite active just yet, as we're not seeing too much battle, but Krishna getting ahead of Do Will down the back straight with the help of what was probably ERS, as now Krishna retakes the lead of this race. Do Will down in second, and now he's got Nazareth for company right behind him. And Do Will not finding himself in a position he wants to. Lucchesi MLT getting ahead of rotation as they are battling a little bit further behind on track here. But this battle for P2, P3, the championship implications here. Oh no! But Nazareth, oh, he just does good to avoid the barrier there. I was holding my breath. But for Nazareth, he's all the way down in P9, as that's a very costly mistake for the AlphaTauri driver, as he might lose more. As now Jav right behind, but he is able to get right back on track just in time. But we'll see if the dirt on those tires is going to be enough. And Irish New Potato nearly losing his tires on the exit of turn 2, almost similar to what could have happened to Winston there a couple laps ago, which could have been the cause of that DNF. But unfortunately, though, for Nazareth, he's down in P9, and that was the last thing he wanted. Is just a couple moments ago, he was seeing his championship rival just ahead of him and in prime position to maybe overtake. But now we've got another yellow flag, and that's Perk Leclerc, who had a bit of a moment through the S's, as now he's getting back on track. That might allow rotation to close right back up, maybe go for an overtake here, as he's got some better lines, but not quite the case. You saw Chris D7 nearly losing the back end. Dark now got ahead of one McLaren. He was thinking about going after the second one, but unfortunately just did not quite have enough room in the braking zone. So Dark is now in P5 in that McLaren sandwich, and in a bit of a barber pole of Mercedes, McLaren, with Knight in the cheap discount McLaren color in that Alpine, who is just doing a great job of continuing that barber pole there. But in P7, looking to chase down, and if DeRoy and Dark and Sophion are gonna have some battles here on track, that might be exactly what Knight needs to close that gap and maybe snag a couple positions for himself here. But we'll see how this is going to play out, especially now with DRS should be activated here for this lap, and we might start seeing a couple more overtakes. But Krishna took the lead of the race, and he's doing a great job starting to build that gap. He's a second and a half ahead of Do Will, so this could get dangerous here. What I was talking about for expecting Do Will to do on the start of the race here, Krishna just regained that position after maybe not the best start, and he's doing that. He's starting to build a gap, very crucially out of DRS range, whereas Do Will is not out of DRS range of Irish New Potato, as Perk Leclerc takes a 3-second time penalty, the first driver to take a time penalty here in this race, and what I can only assume will be the first of many. But here comes Irish New Potato. He's going to be forced to the outside. Who is going to outbrake who? Who's going to get the overtake? Possibly a switchback move. Not quite, as Do Will positions that car perfectly. The two McLarens swapping positions as Sophion and DeRoy. Oh no, that wasn't the two McLarens, that was Dark getting ahead of Sophion. So Dark up into P4, now Sophion in P5, DeRoy in 6, but now Knight is putting a lot of pressure on the two McLarens, who's in P7, but going to be trying to move up the grid here, maybe chase down Dark, as we can see taking that wide line, getting back on track. Maybe a warning there, not quite sure, but we'll see how that's gonna play out. As oh no, there goes Chris into the wall, and he is out of this Grand Prix. As we saw that just from behind there, watching the likes of Jav and Lucchesi battle it out. But now as rotation at Perk Leclerc coming through, it's a yellow flag. Is it going to be a safety car? I don't think it is, as it would have came out right now. No, very quickly that car is out of the way, and we are just gonna continue racing as we're down to 14 drivers, as on the edge of the penultimate corner, just losing the back end was Chris D7. No contact, nothing wrong with that, just trying to get on the power, riding the curb. And unfortunately, it's one of those curbs that can that can send your car for a spin if you're not careful. But for Chris D7, that is unfortunately the end of his race here on lap 6. But here we've got the McLarens back on track, chasing down DeRoy, trying to get ahead of Sophion. Zuwil and Irish New Potato having a little bit of a battle as Zuwil back into second. I think Irish New Potato chased him down, got an overtake done temporarily, but Zuwil coming right back as that must have been Demorts, I think, who brought out a yellow flag, trying to save that car. He does keep it on track. He's continuing on his way, but that's some extra time lost as he had done a good job closing the gap up until this point. But that yellow flag and that time loss might not help too much. But look at this, Irish New Potato right behind DeWill, as it looks like the Haas driver is struggling a little bit here in this stage of the race. Let's ride on board with New Potato. He's going to go for it down the inside. They're side by side going through turn one. Who can get the traction? It's the same tire, the same strategy essentially up until this point. They're side by side coming through the S's. This could get dangerous. Lots of respect between the drives, you can see, just leaving one car's width here as they're still changing positions. They're still side by side here. What a battle, as now it's going to be DeWill who just hangs on to P2. Irish New Potato down in P3, but this could be a tactical move for Irish New Potato as by forfeiting the position initially, he gets the call for DRS and he can get the move done possibly much more cleanly. Meanwhile, behind them, as we saw there just briefly, DeRoy getting ahead of Sophion as they're going to be chasing each other down, as they're going to go side by side. But hang on a minute, here comes New Potato. He's going to have to go the long way around here. Oh, there's a little bit of contact as New Potato tried to switch back. DeWill having absolutely none of it, and DeWill hanging on to that P2, doing a great job of defending. But now Dark is getting involved with the two McLarens as Sophion trying to go the long way around as they're side by side. Knight and DeRoy having a little bit of a battle as well further behind, but that's essentially gone back to single file for the time being, as unless you've got the run, you are not getting an overtake in that sweeping left-hander. But crucially, in this DRS train, I'm going to once again keep an eye out on Irish New Potato and DeWill. But DeWill just built a little bit more of a gap this time around, so I think he's going to be safe into turn one. Irish New Potato going a little bit deep here through that corner. Let's see, it's not going to affect him too much, as drivers behind are maybe a little bit focused on their own battle here. Between Sophion watching out for Dark, DeRoy watching out for Knight here. But it's going to be close, as I think this is all going to play out between these drivers once again down that back straight. Irish New Potato, he's just got to nail these lines. That 3-second time penalty will not be helping him out too much here, as now he's gonna have to get past DeWill. There goes one of the McLarens. There goes DeRoy trying to go for a move on Dark as they're side by side. Dark having to go deep, but the move gets done from DeRoy, and now Knight is gonna have DRS. So will Dark, for that matter, as they're all in the train. Is Irish New Potato, though, going to be able to close up enough with DRS? No, he's fallen behind a little bit. DeRoy and Knight, though, having a little bit of a battle, as now Dark is the biggest loser there, as he finds himself down in P7. Lucchesi getting ahead of Jordan, as Jordan now down in P10. And I think those soft tires might just be starting to fall off a cliff, as we'll keep an eye out on Lucchesi and that gap. If he can close that up to Nazareth a little bit more in a relatively quick fashion, that could be the cue that drivers need to take that pit stop. Generally, we might see the soft tire runners pit on lap 9, but DeRoy, he's had enough. He's pitting here on lap, it is lap 9 here. So he's taking that pit stop right on cue. Knight equally taking a pit stop in a similar fashion to get on the set of mediums. There goes New Potato once again, trying to go for an overtake on DeWill. This time he does get the move done, and here comes Sophion on DeWill. Is he going to have enough of a run? No, he won't, as DeWill is going to remain in third, but Sophion is chasing down, putting pressure, but this battle is just heating up. Meanwhile, Lucchesi and Nazareth, they're right behind, 2/10s behind. Nazareth is Lucchesi as he's chasing down, but you gotta be patient here through the S's. Unless the driver makes a mistake, you're not gonna get an overtake done. So manage the dirty air, keep the gap closed, set yourself up for this straight that is coming up right here after this left-hand corner. We're seeing Lucchesi do just that on those mediums, and that gap really closed up. So I think the soft are starting to fall off the pace. But DeWill now chasing Irish New Potato, and he gets the overtake done once again. They're switching positions. Lucchesi very quickly makes work of Nazareth well before the corners. Nazareth is going to be able to fight back. No, he will not, as Nazareth is going to remain in P7. Lucchesi up into P6. Knight now on a fresh set of soft tires, overtaking DeRoy, and I think with that pit stop, Knight is committing to the two-stop strategy. DeRoy, meanwhile, putting on a set of yellow-walled medium tires. He's going to try to go longer, and he's still leaving that option open for a one-stop, albeit given when he did take that pit stop, he's really going to have to extend those medium tires if he is choosing to do a one-stop. Alternatively, he can go for a two-stop, but hang on, I'll finish that point in a minute, because Sophion and Irish New Potato going side by side through into turn one. They're going to go side by side through the S's here as they're chasing down DeWill. Sophion just gets ahead, and he gets the overtake to stick as Dark is taking a pit stop. He's putting on a set of hard tires, as you can see there on your screen, but Sophion got the overtake done. Irish New Potato, his pace is starting to fall off on those soft tires. He might pit at the end of this lap if I am going to have to make a prediction here, or else he might risk losing out on a little bit more. But we'll see how it plays out. He does have an 8-second gap now to Lucchesi, but Lucchesi is a man on a mission on those medium tires. And considering we're past that point where the soft tires are on that optimal pace, look at this. 7.8 seconds already. I think it's going to continue to close. But Sophion chasing down DeWill. They've got some pace. Look at the acceleration on the exit of that corner from Sophion. He puts that car in there side by side. Is he going to try a switchback? He thought about it, but DeWill defending that. But DeWill going very deep, very wide into that corner. He gets back on track, and Sophion is able to hang on ahead, but he has to give away that position to Irish New Potato. What happened to Sophion? Is there wing damage? Does he just not have pace on the tires? I'm not sure. He's taking a pit stop here, so we'll keep an eye out on that. Irish New Potato pitting as well. DeWill, though, he's staying out. Krishna's staying out. I want to just very quickly stick with Sophion. Are they going to be changing his front wing? Yes, they will. There was damage on that car. Very unfortunate for Sophion, as he had the run, but unfortunately the damage just essentially did it for him here. But for other drivers, that's going to be a little bit of a gift, as I believe that was Knight, who I just saw the purple track map there. I think he might have just set the fastest lap of the Grand Prix on those fresh soft tires. He's on a mission here, going to try to chase down Jav for P4, who has yet to take a pit stop. The leaders have yet to pit either, so Knight, the lead car of those who have taken pit stops here, but he's got DeRoy behind, chasing him down. Irish New Potato, who's out of the pits now. He's got his teammate for company, so they're not going to be battling too much here on track. They're going to get themselves sorted amongst each other there with the team orders. But now with these pit stop strategies, the gaps are remaining, the gaps are essentially even, as now Knight and Jav. Oh, what happened here? Knight and Jav. Oh, yeah, Knight just caught right back up to Jav here, as Jav's those 10-lap old medium tires are no match for fresh soft tires from Knight, who was on a mission up into P4. Now he's going to have to close 4.5 seconds to catch up to Lucchesi, who's equally on a set of medium tires, looking to go a little bit longer. But we'll see, are the leaders taking their pit stop? Krishna staying out. DeWill staying out. You got to think the top two are just going to be matching each other strategy-wise. If the leader's going to go for a one-stop, there goes DeWill probably going to go for a one-stop as well. Lucchesi, though, he's sticking to his strategy with the medium tires. But look at this, Knight already closed up brought that gap to 3.7 seconds of another fastest lap of the Grand Prix on those soft tires. He's making the most of them. DeRoy, meanwhile, getting ahead of Jav, as having to go very deep into turn one, though, as Jav takes that position right back. So DeRoy still in P6. Sophion and Jordan getting into a little bit of a battle amongst themselves. But it looks like Sophion finds the traction on the exit of turn one. He gets ahead. DeRoy and Jav, though, still having that battle. And DeRoy now back ahead. He's up into P5. Jav down in P6 now, as they switch positions through the S's. We're starting to see these pit stop strategies starting to converge a little bit. Knight already down to 2.9 seconds, so half a lap and already knocking a second off of the gap from Lucchesi. So the question here is, will Knight be able to close up enough here before those soft tires hit that cliff in about 3-4 laps time? We'll see how this is going to play out. It's lap 12 out of 28, so tons of racing to go. Krishna is leading this Grand Prix, and he's honestly driven his own race, but now he's taking a pit stop at the end of lap 12. Let's see, what is DeWill going to do? He's going to go for a pit stop himself. He's going to take a pit stop. You got to think they're both going to put on a set of medium tires and try to go 15 laps to the end of this Grand Prix. I got to think that's the strategy here. And that's what Krishna's doing. That's what I'm sure what DeWill is doing here. Is now Lucchesi up in the first, Knight in second. But these top two drivers, they're most likely going to have to take one more pit stop. DeRoy in third, and that is crucial here for the top three that DeRoy got ahead. As now Krishna is going to have to battle a little bit on these fresh set of tires, and that could cause a little bit more wear. We've got a yellow flag here. What's going on here? That was Jav, who's now going to have to try to get on track here, but he's going to have to let a lot of cars go by, as now he's able to get back on track, but he's all the way down in P12, and that is very costly for his strategy, as he has yet to take a pit stop here, and that looks to be possibly some wing damage from Jav. Oh yeah, heavy wing damage, as he's just trying to get into he's just trying to get to the pits. Takes a 5-second penalty, and I do believe that was well deserved there, as he's just trying to get into the pit lane, but you gotta stay on track here. Meanwhile, Krishna is getting ahead of DeRoy, but DeRoy giving his money's worth, defending on the inside, but with the traction, that fresh set of medium tires just has a little bit more than the 3-lap-old set that are on DeRoy's car, but still a good solid battle from these two drivers, and that might have just been enough here. As now look at this, Knight right behind Kay Lucchesi. Is he gonna go for it here? I think he's gonna have to, possibly with the help of DRS, if he can nail the exit around the final corner. On board with the Alpine driver now, 0.4 of a second is the gap. Closing, makes the move, but it's not going to be enough here, as but Lucchesi leaves a lot of room. I think Knight wasn't even expecting that room to be left, but saw the window and didn't have to tell the Alpine driver twice, as he gets the overtake done, and he now finds himself in the lead of this Grand Prix. So step 1 done. Step 2, build a gap. It is time now. We'll see what Knight can do, as he is really going to have to push. And there's Jav out of this race. He retires out of this Grand Prix. So not the outcome Jav was hoping for here, as he's going to fall down the order in P14, and another bit of a disappointing race here for Jav in Circuit of the Americas. He's going to have to essentially take an early attempt to next week's preparation here for the race, but that mistake, that wing damage, he said enough was enough here, as we've just hit the midway point of the race. Lap 14 out of 28, Nazareth getting ahead of Sophion. These two drivers resuming their battle, but you can see Sophion having to go very deep into that corner, and that's all it is. And now that's Perk Leclerc, who had a bit of a moment there in Sector 1, bringing out a yellow flag. He's since corrected and back on track, but that's gonna let Demorts possibly close that gap up just a little bit. Here comes DeRoy now, as he's chasing down Krishna. Krishna did get ahead, but DeRoy doing a good job staying within DRS range, keeping Krishna honest here, as they're both chasing down the leaders. The gap between Krishna and Lucchesi is falling to about 1 second, or 1 full second here. If we ride on board, there is that Aston Martin of Lucchesi there. A yellow flag in Sector 1. What's brought this out here? As DeRoy is still with Irish Potato, though, going very slow, and I think he was the cause of that yellow flag, and he's got no front wing on that Mercedes. So the yellow flags here, lots of drivers struggling through the S's here in this midway point. taking some damage, breaking their front wings. The cars are staying in one piece though, but we've got more yellow flags as what happened here as Jordan now going a little bit slow. I'm really not too sure. It must have been, let's see, there's rotation with a front wing, Jordan with a front wing, Krishna now getting ahead of Lucchesi as I was trying to figure out what happened with that yellow flag, unless it was just Irish Shoot Potato letting drivers through. Now that I'm thinking about it, D-Mort's getting ahead of Perk Leclerc as they're exchanging rotation down, falling down the order, as I think rotation might have had a moment going through the left-hand braking zone before the long DRS straight. But Krishna now up in second. He's gonna have to close a 2-second gap to Knight, who is just trying to push a couple flying laps here in that Alpine before pitting for his second stop to put on a fresh set of medium tires. But it looks like, for now, Krishna making that possible one-stop work for him. Zuwil, meanwhile, on those mediums, he's not having that oomph in his step that he was having with the soft tires. He's been quiet ever since the pit stops. DeRoy getting ahead of Lucchesi here, as you would expect, given Lucchesi on those 15-lap-old medium tires, trying to go much longer here. But I think they're going to be starting to fall just a little bit. But we'll see what Lucchesi's going to do with his strategy. But back to Zuwil, he's in 5th place. He's going to try to close up. He might get a position here with the likes of Lucchesi having to take a pit stop at some point if he doesn't overtake him before on track. But really not on that pace that we saw with Krishna. Meanwhile, Sophion getting ahead of Nazareth to go up into P7. So Nazareth once again having that mistake. He's been trying to recoup, but just stuck in this limbo here with himself and Sophion, and just hasn't been able to push as much. He does get ahead now once again with the help of DRS. So I think Sophion might have just played himself a little bit with that overtake, as he essentially could have had that move had he kept DRS, but it was the case. That is how things worked out there. So Nazareth's back up into P7, but he still has a 2-second gap to try to close up to Dark, who very much so will be going to the end of this Grand Prix on those hard tires. Now Knight, he's taken his pit stop. It is time to put on a set of mediums and go to the end. Lucchesi taking his pit stop as well, as he's had enough there. So Lucchesi probably on the softs, Knight on the mediums as expected, and that did promote Krishna back into the lead of this race. But look at this, DeRoy on those 7-lap-old mediums taking a bit of an earlier pit stop. He finds himself in second, and he's got a 4-second cushion to Duwil, who's in third. But Duwil on much fresher tires here, so could very much so be starting to push in a little bit here once we see the tires from DeRoy start to fall off, because DeRoy still has to go about 10-11 more laps unless he is going to take a pit stop for a set of soft tires, in which case, well, then he's going to be losing out on a couple positions either way. But if he stays out, does DeRoy, then he's really going to have to nurse those tires to the end, and he's going to lose out on a lot of pace. Perk Leclerc taking another time-second penalty, but we've got quite a few of them on the board. Dark, Nazareth, Knight, Lucchesi, rotation, all with 3 seconds. Irish Shoot Potato and Perk Leclerc at this stage in the race with 6 seconds. But Perk Leclerc is out of this Grand Prix, as I believe he retired in the pit lane. He's had enough here of Circuit of the Americas. And that is an early end to Perk Leclerc's Grand Prix, and not necessarily the debut he was hoping for here, as it lasted 17 out of the 28 laps, and that is now Perk Leclerc, another driver out of this race, and that brings our running total down to 12 runners remaining. Lucchesi, though, chasing down Jordan here. We've got a little bit of a battle brewing as they're coming around the final few corners. They might go for it here with DRS going into turn 1. On the brakes goes Lucchesi. Is he going to get the exit he needs? Opens up the DRS flap. Look at this. The pace difference is insane between the softs and the mediums. Well before turn 1 goes Lucchesi ahead of Jordan, as Lucchesi snags that P8, and all Jordan can do is sit there and watch as the Aston Martin just gets ahead and books it now on those fresh set of soft tires. So much more grip, so much more pace here. And it's a purple sector 1 for good measure here, and he might just be challenging for that fastest lap here, the likes of which we might see a rotation go for, and the likes of which we saw Irish Sweet Potato just take, as he sets the fastest lap of the Grand Prix here on lap 18 out of 28. 10 laps to go in this Grand Prix that has proven to be very exciting up until this point. So Fionn, oh, he came close, trying to go for an overtake on Nazareth, but not quite enough room to get it done into the braking zone. Had to slow down, had to concede. But if he can just keep behind Nazareth, battle out this dirty air through the corners, he might be able to set himself up to go for it here in turn 1. They're running a similar strategy. They're on the same set of tire wear. But Nazareth's going very, very deep there into the entry of the corner. Not too sure what happened there, as I was just looking at the gaps a tiny little bit. But that might be a gift for Sophion, and there's another one there, as Nazareth is out of this Grand Prix on the final corner, and that is going to bring out a full caution safety car, and now lap 19 out of 28. If you're a driver on track, you gotta beg the question: do you pit again? Do you put on a set of soft tires and try to go to the end, or do you commit to your strategy? I mean, if you're the likes of Knight, Lucchesi, I'll say Rotation, Nude Potato, who just took a pit stop 1 lap ago, you're probably better off staying out because there's not going to be that much of a difference. But if you're the likes of, let's say, DeRoy, Dark, even to an extent, maybe Krishna and DeWill, do you want to take a pit stop here? Well, Irish Sweet Potato, he decides he's going to pit. He's going to put on, I guess, a fresh set of soft tires. But he gets the advantage of being a little bit further behind the field, so he can make that call before everybody else. But these top two, I'm not too sure what they're gonna do. I gotta say, I think DeRoy will be pitting here. There's not much choice. He either pits under safety car, or he stays out and trying to take those medium tires at 10 more laps. That's gonna be a challenge in itself. They're gonna fall off the cliff, and I think he's gonna lose more if he does not pit here under safety car compared to if he does take the initial time loss, but it is going to be a quicker stop. Krishna, though, he's going to stay out. DeRoy, yep, unsurprisingly taking a pit stop. DeWill is pitting as well, so that's interesting. Dark, I think, unsurprising for Dark, because he's going to have to take a pit stop. Oh no, a drive-through for D-More. It's unfortunate there. So Fionn pitting, Knight coming around the final corner. He's going to stay out, as I would expect. Lucchesi as well. Jordan pitting, and everybody else behind, well, they've already got that fresh set of soft tires on, so they're going to be staying out here as well. And they're just going to try to catch up to the field here. So there you have it. So from Nazareth, who really did not have the Grand Prix he was hoping for here in Coda. He was running so well off the start, had a good qualifying, but one mistake in the early stages sent him for a spin, sent him down the order, and he was trying to recover, trying to work his way back up with strategy, with pace, but unfortunately loses the car on the exit of the final corner, just a little bit too quick on the power as he was in a battle with one of the McLarens. I believe it was with Sophia, but unfortunately a little bit too much power, losing the back end, and at that point you just gotta hope you hit the wall in the right way to not end your race. Was not the case for Nazareth, as he crashed out of this race, and that brought out the full caution safety car. So ladies and gentlemen, here we are. It is lap 20 out of 28. We are under safety car here, and we should be able to continue racing here. Most likely not at the end of this lap, but I'm thinking at the end of next lap here. So at the end of lap 21, we should be going back to green flag racing for what is going to be a race from lap 22 out of 28 here, and it's going to be about a 6 to 7 lap sprint to the finish, as math is going to be a little bit difficult for me here today. There we go, 7 laps to the finish if we include lap 22, as I just can't do math when I'm talking, ladies and gentlemen, so I just have to do that very, very quickly. Never mind that a calculator also exists here that I do have, but you know, that solution is a little bit too easy. I would much rather take my own way, go a little bit harder. But under safety car here, we've been riding on board with Krishna for a little bit under the safety car, and you can see the field is starting to catch up. We've got everybody up to Jordan here, but now we just got to wait for the final 3 runners: Irish New Potato, Rotation, D-Morts, and I gotta say, D-Morts, He got a gift, another gift from the gods here, even more so of a gift. Now, for those who remember, D-Morts in the early stages of the race had that big accident in all the way back on lap 1. He had to take, he lost out on many positions, had to take a pit stop. The virtual safety car came out, but with the deltas that you have to respect, you're only closing up so much. And for D-Morts, he's just been running his own race in kind of no man's land for the wooden spoon, just hoping for a little bit of luck, like drivers retiring in the pit lane, drivers retiring on track. But now, here we are, lap 21 out of 28, a full caution safety car came out, and now we gotta wait for the grid to catch back up. And for D-Morts, who was running in absolute no man's land here for so long, he now all of a sudden he's gonna get to see cars again, and he's gonna get to find some pace and maybe try to get a few overtakes and maybe recover from what was a you know, all considered up until this point a bit of a abysmal race for the Red Bull driver. But of course, catching up to the field is only half the work. If he can get a couple overtakes done, all the better. But we'll see how this is all playing out, as you can see nearly caught up, near about 5 seconds to go. But I think he will catch up in time for the safety car to come in at the end of this lap. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. The lights are still on for the time being, but there we go. Ask and you shall receive. The safety car lights are off, and we will be going back to green flag racing, ladies and gentlemen, to start lap 22 out of 28 of the United States Grand Prix. There we go. Got a quick sip of water just in time. Here you can see getting that final little bit of heat in the tires is the leader, Krishna, and the rest of the field. Around the final corner we go. It is time. Oh no, and that was DeRoy with a big mistake on the edge of the final corner. He falls all the way down the order, and he got the worst possible restart he could have hoped for here. Meanwhile, Lucchesi going alongside of Knight as they're side by side here, still side by side, but Lucchesi does get ahead, finding that traction on these soft tires that are still showing a little bit more pure pace than the mediums, but that could change in a few laps time. Krishna sticking on his mediums as well. We'll see if he can rely on his raw pace around Coda that we've seen in the past to build that gap, but you can see through the S's, other than DeRoy, who had that moment on the restart around the final corner with his cold tires. Everybody making it through relatively cleanly here, it seems. So Fion once again chasing down Dark as Lucchesi now gets ahead of Krishna. Krishna must have had a bit of a mistake there, as now Knight is on the charge on the four lap fresher medium tires. Is gonna be close, has to rely on ERS and pace. They're gonna go side by side. Knight gets the inside line, a little bit of contact there, but they're still side by side into the next corner. The inside line turns into the outside line for the Alpine driver, which then once again turns into the inside line here, and Will is behind both of them trying to get involved. Krishna getting a switchback move, but he's gonna have to go around the outside here. Might get a better traction. As you can see, they're still alongside the Alpine and the Ferrari. What a sight to see here. Again, they're still side by side. They're approaching the final corner, and Will, I think he wants to get involved here. There's no DRS. You saw Krishna having to fight the car on the edge of the final corner to not end up with DeRoy. But are we going to go 3 wide into turn 1? Is going to be close. No. Will thought about it for half a second, but thought better of it. He's going to just wait behind. But it's been nearly a full lap, and they're still side by side, the Alpine and the Ferrari. What a sight to see here as they're still going at it. But it looks like I think Knight might just finally get the overtake done. Yes, he does. He finally clears the Ferrari of Krishna, but that was a crazy battle for nearly a full lap, at the very least 2/3 of a lap there. just side by side here. But it is Knight who gets ahead. But we'll see here how long this is going to last. A little bit of a lock up there. And now Irish New Potato and Dark changing positions here. You know they're not going to be battling too much. But all eyes are on this main group of cars. Single file. Jordan getting ahead of rotation. But look at this chaos as now here comes Krishna once again. He gets the inside line now as they're going to be changing positions. Now this is great for Lucchesi as Lucchesi can just try to run away here with those soft tires. Krishna having to go very deep, very wide there, and that nearly opened the door to Do Will. But now Knight having to go wide. He's going to try a switchback, and Do Will right behind these two. He can throw a blanket over these 4 cars here on the track and cover them all here. But here comes Do Will. He's got to run on that fresh set of soft tires. Just not enough space here. Is he going to go for it down the final corner? No, he's not. But with DRS enabled, he's going to have to pick his move. But there went rotation very deep as that allowed Dark to get ahead. DeRoy setting a fastest lap of the Grand Prix as he's got some pace here for 4 laps to go, trying to close back up to the field after that spin, after that moment there. Jordan in rotation, still having a battle on track. Jordan gets ahead, but I still can't take my eyes off of this lead pack here. All battling for the podium here, all battling for these podium positions. Now Lucchesi, very crucially, he's built a 3-second gap, a 3.5-second gap with everybody battling here, the likes of Krishna, Knight, and Do Will. But the question is more, will those soft tires from Lucchesi hold on? Will they hang on enough here with enough pace to keep that P1, or will these medium tire runners be able to close that gap up? If we switch over to the penalties, the podium, the top 3 so far all have 3 seconds of time penalties. Meanwhile, Do Will and Sophion, they're driving a clean race. So this is all to play for here with 4 laps to go. And Do Will and Sophion, they're not out of this. If they can just close this gap, and if these gaps can stay well enough, they might just be able to sneak onto a podium and break the hearts of the Alpine. Oh my goodness, look at this. There goes Sophion down the inside of Do Will. I thought he was going to go for a move on Knight as well. Irish New Potato getting involved here in this battle. Let's jump on board with Sophion as they're going to still remain single file, but New Potato right behind. You can see there is that Mercedes chasing down, getting close, but with this train of cars in DRS, lap 25 out of 28, we are starting here. Here comes Do Will. Is he going to go for it down the inside of Knight? He does. Hit the brakes. Some room is left. They're going to go side by side here. Who's going to get the traction? Lots of respect between the 2 drivers, I'm sure, on track, but no love lost here in the race this close to the end. But Do Will does get ahead. That fresh set of soft tires was just enough here. As now he's going to try to chase down Krishna. So Knight, he's trying to make those medium tires stick as much as he can. He's done the work. He's done a good job thus far, but I think that battle with Krishna might have affected things a little bit more than he would have liked here with those medium tires. But Krishna doing a good job hanging on with what's now 11 lap old mediums. He's still got a little bit of pace, and crucially, it looks like Lucchesi's pace is just ever so slightly starting to fall off here. The gap 2.8 seconds as Do Will now gets ahead of Krishna as he finds himself in P2, and he's going to try to charge down for P1. He's going to still try to hit the win on track, I think. He might be able to get it on penalties if he can hang on to this position, but now Knight falling down the orders. He has to go very deep now as he's still fighting with Irish New Potato. They're side by side here once again. Who's going to get the traction? It looks like it will be New Potato for now as he goes up into P5. Knight down in P6, but Sophion a little bit further ahead, chasing down Krishna here as they're going to go around the final corner. Who's going to get the better of this battle? Will it be Sophion on the 4-lap old softs, Krishna on the 12-lap old mediums? They're heading down towards turn 1. We've got a yellow flag, and that's DeRoy out of this Grand Prix here with 2 laps to go. That will not be bringing out a safety car, I'm certain of it, but in a very similar spot as Nazareth, and a very similar spot where he lost it on the restart. For DeRoy, unfortunately, that's the end of his Grand Prix. So close, but so far to go for the McLaren driver, who was having a fantastic race up until now. And I do still have to give props to DeRoy for the race up until that point. An unfortunate way to end. But here on lap 26 out of 28, we still have battles on track. We still have positions to play for here. Now, Sophion and Do Will, they've driven a very clean race thus far, and they could be the biggest benefactors of this clean race. But if we switch over here with the penalties, there goes Krishna being forced to the outside of Do Will, but now Sophion tried to get ahead as well. Now, very crucially, they're all closing the gap on Lucchesi. This is going to be close. If Lucchesi can't find more pace here, he might fall out of this. He might just lose out on what could be a win, and he might end up in P3. There goes Sophion now. He finds the acceleration on Krishna, and Krishna having a terrible line as Irish New Potato now getting ahead. You can see alongside a little bit of contact touching his side pods there, but New Potato does get ahead. But for Irish New Potato, he's just trying to go for a run. He's minimizing the damage as he's got 12 seconds of time penalties here so far in this race. Some I'm not too sure if we'll have to see if that could change there with the post-race results. But for now, with 12 seconds of time penalties, Irish New Potato not in a great spot. Rotation and Jordan changing positions. But on the penultimate lap, here we go. Lucchesi, the gap is only 1.4 seconds. Those soft tires, are they going to last? I don't know if they're going to last to the end and hang on to that. As you can see, Do Will, Sophion, they're on a mission here, and they're bringing the likes of Irish New Potato and Krishna for good measure. Now, the key here is Krishna with his tires, unless Knight can get ahead of Krishna and make a few moves here in the final few laps. So Irish New Potato with those 12 seconds, he's not much to count for. Sophion, though, getting ahead of Do Will, and Sophion, this is crucial here in this battle as well. With Lucchesi with that 3 seconds of time penalty, this battle between Sophion and Do Will, this is essentially the battle for the win here. So on the penultimate lap, Sophion gets ahead. He finds himself in P2 on track. Only one driver ahead with 3 seconds of time penalties. So Sophion, he's got to keep Do Will behind. He's got to keep it clean, though. Not extend more than he has to on these track limits, as he's got 2 corners to go and 1 more lap. Around the final corner go the leaders now, and here we go, ladies and gentlemen. It's all going to come down to this, the final lap of the United States Grand Prix here for Division 2. Everything is still to play for here, but for the win, for the leaders, Sophion and Do Will chasing down, but I think Do Will, the pace is just starting to fall off ever so slightly with those soft tires compared to Sophion. It's now Irish New Potato putting a lot of pressure here. Krishna is starting to fall off. He's out of DRS range, but it looks like unless we see crazy moves, it looks like those tires are really starting to scream here, and drivers are just trying to nurse to the end, hope for the best. But you can see Do Will chasing down Sophion, trying to show down the inside. Will not get much, but now it's going to be crucial with the help of DRS. Here we go. DRS open for Sophion. Is he going to get ahead of Lucchesi? We'll see. We're riding on board with Do Will in the Haas as he finds himself in P3. Sophion going to go for it. He's down the inside. They're side by side. They touch a little bit, but this is for now. Sophion in P1, Lucchesi in P2, but they're still side by side here. And this is going to close up the gap. Night and Dark going alongside. Lucchesi having to go very deep in this corner as now he's alongside of Do Will. It's going to rely on the traction, but Sophion takes the lead of this Grand Prix officially here. And now you can see Lucchesi, Irish New Potato, and Do Will getting involved with one another. Do Will does get ahead in P2. Irish New Potato up into P3 for now. But as they come around the final corner, across the line, what's the order? Sophion, Do Will, Lucchesi gets the podium just enough, just hangs on with Krishna 0.2 of a second behind, but it is Sophion who gets the overtake done on the final lap, and he takes the win here in COTA. He is your champion. He is your winner of the United States Grand Prix, and my goodness, what a race that was here for the Division 2 Championship. Exciting from beginning to end as Lucchesi gets driver of the day as voted by the fans here in COTA, as voted by the fans here at the United States Grand Prix. But what a race that was, and I mean, it had a little bit of everything there. It had tons of action, lots of overtaking, some strategy, but at the end of the day, that safety car with about 10 laps to go really made the difference here. But it is Sophian who was flirting in the middle of the pack for the most part. He gets the job done, inching out the championship leader of Duwil to snag that P1 and snag those points. Zuwil finds himself in P2 here in second in the Haas. Lucchesi from 13th on the grid up to third, and he made that one-stop work to perfection. Krishna trying the one-stop, came close, but just not close enough after a dominating race. Knight in rounding out the top 5, and after qualifying in 9th, a good recovery drive and a good haul of points for him. Here in Coda. Dark in 6th, Jordan in 7th, Newt Potato in 8th, Rotation in 9th, and D-Mort's rounding out the top 10 here with the retirements and the DNFs afterwards. DeRoy, Nazareth, Perk Leclerc, Jav, SRN, Chris D7, and Woodston that we lost very early on. But my goodness, what a race that was, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, I do hope you all enjoyed it as much as I did here in the commentator's booth. But if you are upset that the race is over, worry not, because in a little under 30 minutes time, about 27 minutes if I'm being exact here, we're going to have the main event. It is going to be Division 1 as they take to the Circuit of the Americas for their race here, for their United States Grand Prix, so you're definitely not going to want to miss that one. But until then, that is going to do it here for the stream. That's going to do it here for the race. You're going to want to tune in next week as we have our race around Baku. It is going to be the Azerbaijan Grand Prix, and hopefully things go a little bit more smooth sailing than the first time around. But we'll see how that goes. But until then, I do want to say thank you everybody for watching. I do hope you enjoyed the racing action. And until then, on behalf of myself and everybody here at ISRL Esports, my name is Fallen Monkey saying thank you so much for watching and have yourselves a fantastic day.